What's going on, y'all? This be your boy, Scotty by Nature TV, and we are here for like a live. We're here for a live version, really, of Yes for the Mess, y'all. As you guys already know, Kenya Moore and Carlos King did a sit down interview on Tuesday. I know y'all been waiting on me to do this, but y'all do know I'm behind on a lot of stuff because I am out of town. So when I'm out of town, I really don't be thinking about doing no work. But I decided to get up here while I'm not really doing nothing right now, and I decided, okay, let me just get up here and do a little bit of work while I'm up here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still trying to learn how to do this restream thing. I'm not using StreamYard right now. I haven't really used StreamYard since I left Houston. So I got me a new streaming service right about now. So just bear with me on this because I'm still learning. But anyways, what's going on with y'all right now? I know it's Thursday afternoon or whatever, and we are in the building, okay? Um, so y'all already know how this goes. Whenever I do these little, recaps of the interviews, it's basically a watch along. I sit back, I watch the interview with you guys, I stop it to make some points, and I keep it moving. And then at the end of the interview, I get my final thoughts on it, and then we continue to move on and move forward. Okay. Now, I don't have any church announcements. As I said, this is all of the stuff that I normally would have up is on my StreamYard, and all of that is on my desktop back at home. So I'm on my laptop. I got to work with what I got right about now. Okay. So without any further ado, we're about to go ahead and get into this recap. Okay. So I already got my stuff set up. I already got it ready. So let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. So let me remove this off of here. Okay. And as y'all can see me, I'm down here at the bottom. I'm down at the bottom right there. So let's go ahead and get into this interview. And then we're gonna give what we gotta say down at we're gonna continue to talk about it. Y'all already know how we get down over here. So let's go ahead and get right on into this thing. Let's get into it, y'all.
I can't.
My raindrops and tea twirlers. Raindrop, the link up you didn't know you needed.
I know, and what's so funny is some of the twirlers think I don't like you, and I
Really?
can't wait until we talk about that too.
They're
Because
sensitive.
okay, you ready? Ah!
Yeah.
Raindrops. I mean, this woman is not only my sister, she's my friend, and I don't use the F word loosely.
No, you don't.
Listen. I love the girls.
Yes.
I love all the
You
girls.
do.
I don't keep in touch with all of them though. No shade. There's a
Yeah.
few,
Yeah.
and I mean, you know how much I love you.
I love you the same.
Do you really love all the girls, Carlos? Do you really this is the stuff I be talking about. Okay. Listen, y'all know every time I sit up here and I talk about Carlos, y'all know that I always got to give him the business every time. And I have to always make it clear that I actually like Carlos. That's the sad thing about this situation. I really do like Carlos. Like I like him. I think he's very pretentious as fuck. And I do believe that he thinks he's bigger than what he is. But at the same time, I genuinely like Carlos. But he be lying. He be lying. I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. He be lying because he talking about something. I love all the girls. I love all the girls. No, the fuck you don't. You don't love all of them. And you say that Kenya your friend, but you sit on your own platform and said that she faking a friendship for the cameras. Like, if that's the type of love that you got, then I don't want it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, girl, get the fuck out of here. That's what I'm talking about. But okay, okay, Carlos. Okay, do your thug thizzle, whatever. Let's continue.
So do the other girls. But to know that, first of all, my late night show, The Nightcap, Kenya was confirmed.
Yes.
There was a COVID situation going on. I had to reschedule. She said, I want to do my bitch. I have an international flight. And I said, it ain't your fault. But again, God has the perfect timing for everything. I want to thank you for coming on my podcast, doing it face to face. You are by far.
I wanted to. I was like,
Yeah.
no, we need the in-person thing. Not the computer barrier. It's just weird for me. Like, our chemistry is in person.
No, it really is. It really is. So everyone, welcome.
Thank you.
The living legend,
Oh.
Miss USA.
Oh.
I mean, she puts the celebrity in Bravo celebrity.
Yes.
Chocolate Queen.
Thank you.
I mean, this woman, her and Porsha saved the franchise from sinking. I said it before and I'll say it again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Give it up for Kenya, the icon. More.
Yes.
Yes. First of all, let's get started.
Thank you to my 3 fans that are here. Thank you so much. It means everything to me.
Let's talk about you before Housewives.
Yes.
Because what I want to remind people is you were that girl
Yes.
before there were ever a reality show, a Bravo network, a housewife, a peach to hold.
Yes.
Any of those things. You are a dark-skinned black girl from Detroit, Michigan.
Come on, Detroit.
Okay?
What up, though?
What up, though? Our hometown. And you have amassed this empire for yourself. So I want to go back a little bit. Take me back to the time when you knew inherently, right, that I meant to be something special. When did you know that?
Oh gosh, that's so weird. I don't know if I ever knew it. I just knew that my life was different. I felt like my life that I was living was different from a lot of other kids around me. And I felt like all of the adversity that came my way dealing with my mom, who could have easily destroyed me. Like literally, she told me she would destroy me to my face.
Your mother said that to you?
My mother said that to me. She said, I will dog you for the rest of your life, to my face.
How old were you?
I was about, I had to be, that was when I was hiding in my mother's closet. I had pre-recorded something because she wouldn't talk to me, and I was trying to get her to speak to me. And my cousin and I pre-recorded on the little tape cassettes, and I hid in her closet of my grandmother's home, her mom, hoping that when she came home, I could just press play, she would listen, and I poured my heart out, like just saying, you don't have to speak to me, you don't have to, we don't have to be friends, you don't have to call me your daughter, but can you at least speak to me, acknowledge me, let's try to have a friendship. And when she came home, my cousin buried me in the closet, like put all the clothes, things, so I was hidden in her closet. And when she came home, I remember my heart was just beating out of my chest, and I think it was around 11, 12, I think. And she came in, she figured out what was going on. She was like, who is there? She opened the closet door. She pulled all the clothes and things off of me, grabbed me out of there, took the recording, and she was livid. She was livid. My grandmother was home. That was her mom. And she told me, I don't have a daughter. She pretended like, I didn't exist, but she was livid. She had a conversation with my grandmother, her mom, and she told her mother to her face, I've never had a child. She's like, I've never had a child. And my grandmother, for the first time ever in my life, I saw her take up for me. Like, why can't you just speak to her? Why do you have to treat her that way? And my mother was like, I've never had a child. I don't know what you're talking about. They were arguing, and I just remember crying. My cousin was crying. And after she was done speaking to my mom, her mother, she came to me and she said, I will dog you for the rest of your life. She was like, I will never be your friend. I will dog you I will never forget those words. And that was, after that, I think it just left me feeling like that's the end of it, that was the end.
Every time I hear Kenya talk about the relationship or lack thereof that she had with her mother, and her mother never really acknowledging her presence, or never really saying that she was a person, was weird to me. I never understood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never understood that. I never understood why would she treat her like that. Like, why would you give birth to a child and then turn around and say, I don't have a child, that's not my child, or I'm not her mom, or whatever? Like, I need to know what was the backstory of it. Because for Kenya to have such a great relationship with her dad, but her mama not want to have anything to do with her, what is the reason? What is the reason? And that's, the way that Kenya acted on Housewives of Atlanta, and the way that she took rejection and things like that, that is the reason why this shit followed her for the rest of her life. Honestly, that shit really followed her, and it did a number on her. And that's what people don't understand, or they don't try to understand, or that's what people don't realize, is that type of thing, it did a number on her. And that's why she acted the way she do, and that's why she has these attachment issues. But I don't know, like that is weird to treat somebody that you gave birth to like that. You know what I mean? That's crazy. But let's continue.
End of it. And I don't know what happened to me, but over time, I think I just developed like this thick skin that said, I'm going to show her wrong. Like, you're not going to destroy me. And she tried everything that she could try. I remember the first pageant later that I ever won. It was called I'm gonna get this wrong. Miss Black Star was my first one. Little Miss Black Star, and then the second one, I can't remember the name right now because I'm getting old. I can't remember.
You look good though, bitch.
The mind.
Okay.
The
Yes.
microscope is not as good.
The mind's a terrible thing to
It
waste,
is,
bitch. It's
honey.
still there.
Yes, it is definitely failing me at times. But I remember it was so crazy because I remember I won my second pageant. So I was 16, and that pageant you didn't have to reveal your age. So the first one you did, I was 13 or 14. So the second one I entered, I won. And I was dating someone in high school that was very wrong, but he was a predator. 11 years my senior. So I was 16.
He wasn't a student?
as 27. He was 27 years old.
He was a faculty member.
He was a predator who followed me home from school, which a lot of the boys, because I looked so much older, I was tall, I was, athletic, curvy, all that. So no, he met me outside of school. And so anyway, my mother was calling the pageant director and was telling her I was an alcoholic, I was dating this older man, I was all of these horrible things, and that I should not be her beauty queen. I was a horrible representation. And she tried to get my crown taken away. And I remember having this meeting with both of my grandmothers being there with, her name was Rosa Robinson. And both of my grandmothers had to come, and it was like a trial. And I was on trial fighting to keep my first crown that I ever won. And it was all because of my grandmother. I have all the proof, the letters, I have everything in my safety deposit box. But that was all a part of my memoir, so hopefully one day we'll.
Oh no, we just see it.
Yeah.
But I want to go back a little bit in terms of what changed. So your mother had you when she was a teenager, correct?
Mm-hmm, yes. She was around 16, 15, 16.
She was around 15, 16. Mm-hmm. We know tons of.
And my dad too.
Right, your parents were teenagers. Who I consider the Beyonce of the church. Sarah Jakes Roberts had a baby at 14. So I want to be, everyone's different, but I know having a baby.
Black community, 70s,
yes.
And it was not their first minor, but teenage pregnancy in the family. It was their second.
It was their second.
Yes.
Did the pregnancy cause her to become reclusive because of the time that it happened?
That's a good question. She was always a recluse to me. She would always be in her room, the mother that I knew, that I would observe. And what I have been told, she was never someone who was out and partying. She was always in her room. But I know her post me, post baby. So I can't answer that. I only can answer what I've personally witnessed and, some of what people have said. But I think it's deeper than that. And I really wish in my lifetime that her story would be told, because we don't know the full story.
Do you think do you think she's suffering through some form of mental illness?
Absolutely. That's why I studied psychology, because I wanted to find out what was wrong with my mother. It was my only passion in life at the time. I wanted to know what would make a person look their own child in the face and say, "You are not mine, I never had you," and was confident, like in her eyes. Yeah. She meant that.
And by her trying to block your crown taken away,
that was just one minute. That was the one thing that I cited. But there was a history of her literally trying to destroy me. That was her mission.
When you came to her house, season 7 or 8, I believe.
One of those.
Did she ever say anything to a family member about you doing that?
Yes. Yeah, my aunt.
Aunt Lori.
My Aunt Lori got all the smoke. Yeah. She basically, and as you saw, my Aunt Lori agreed with her. Like, just leave her alone. That's her house. She doesn't want a relationship with you. She doesn't have to. And the viewers 100% loved Lori. After that scene, they were like, they hated her. Not hated, but
no, they were disappointed.
They were disappointed because it's like, how are you going to tell this child that she cannot seek a relationship or answers from her own mother? And it was a crucial time in my family's life, and I've always felt that nobody was ever on my side. No one ever.
Listening to Kenya talk about this is like striking a chord with me in a sense, because it really ain't got nothing to do with me. It's more so about my mom. Now, my mother doesn't care about me speaking about this. I've spoken about it many times before, so I know damn well she don't care about me speaking about it. Trust and believe me, she don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it. My mother, she never really had a relationship with her mother, aka my grandmother. She wasn't raised by her mother. My mother was raised by my great-grandmother, my mother's grandmother, okay? From 6 weeks old on up, she not only was raised by her grandmother, but she was also raised by aunts. She lived with her grandmother from, 6 weeks up to high school. And during high school, she lived with her aunt, Learness, okay? So she had a village, but her mother was not a part of that village. Her mother lived in Chicago. So, my mother was born in Chicago, basically. She was born in Chicago, and 6 weeks later, she was in Mississippi, right? So every single year, every summer, they would send my mother to Chicago to go visit her mama. And every time she would go up there, every summer, my grandmother would beat my mama ass. And I'm not talking about with a switch or with a belt or like something that's regular discipline or something like that. I'm talking about with her fist, like beat her with her fist like a woman in the street. She would literally fight a 7-year-old like she was fighting a 30-something-year-old woman in the street. She'll run ahead through air conditioning units. Like, she would do all kinds of things based off of what my mother said. And of course, I wouldn't know what happened because I wouldn't even thought of then. But there were other family members that co-signed the things that my mother said. But although they saw the abuse that her mother would give her, they still would try to make my mother do the same thing that they told Kenya to do. Oh, just leave it alone. Don't bother her. You need to get over it. You need to let it live. You need to let it die. You need to do this. Like, family members would see the situation go down, but at the same time, they ain't gonna do nothing to defend the situation. They would just sit there and let it happen. So a lot of the times my mother would feel alone in a lot of these situations. She would feel like she would be by herself. And a lot of the times she was by herself because no one saw how she felt, or no one could understand why she felt the way that she did. But at the same time, I would never understand how they couldn't understand it when they saw it with their own two eyes. You see this lady beating this little girl and y'all not saying nothing about it. The only thing y'all can say is, well, I ain't got nothing to do with it. That's your mama. I ain't got nothing to do with it. That's your mama. I ain't got nothing to do with it. That's your mama. Like, that's the type of shit that you would say when you would see a young girl getting her ass kicked by her mama, a mama that's not even raising her, a mama that's not even doing for her, a mama that threw her off on y'all taking care of her child, and because that's biologically her child, y'all would sit there and allow her to abuse a child. So my mother had to walk around with that trauma all of her life, and she still walks around with it. You feel what I'm saying? My mama still have to walk around with it. My mother is 58. My mama is 58 years old. And even at the age of 58, my mama still walks around with that trauma. Even at the age of 58, you still got a certain aunt in the family, because most of my aunts are dead now. Is only two aunts left, and one of them, and the other one is my grandmama. So there's only three of them. The three sisters are left. All the other aunts and uncles, they're dead. The only three of them are left. And it's always that one aunt that always sits there and tell my mama, you need to move on. You need to let it go. You need to forgive your mother. But how can she forgive her mother when her mother would never own up to what she did? It's the same thing. Like, she know that there are family members that will speak up, that were there, but the people that would speak up are not around. So it's kind of like she'll swear up and down my mama lying on her, but there's people that were there that know that it happened, and I've heard them confirm it with my mom. But yet, when it's everybody else around, I ain't got nothing to do with it. It's like y'all ain't got nothing to do with it, but y'all know that it happened. All she don't need for y'all to get involved in a situation. All she really needs is for you guys to just say it happened. But y'all rather make her look like a liar. You feel what I'm saying? Instead of just doing what's right. You feel what I'm saying? So it's really fucked up. And every time I hear Kenya tell this story and I see how her Aunt Lori pretty much scolded her about that situation, I see my mom in Kenya. Like, my mama relationship with my grandmama wasn't shit. And she never had a relationship with us either. And even when I went to Chicago last year, people was like, are you going to see your grandmama? Hell no. And I always tell you guys, I don't have a relationship with none of my grandparents. Like, I don't have a relationship with my mom's mom. My mom's dad lives right here in Detroit. And I've been here in Detroit since Sunday evening. Do you think I reached out to him? No. I probably should, but then again, I don't, because he even admitted that he never wanted kids. He never wanted grandkids. That's why he doesn't really have anything to do with us. So why would I be trying to, go out of my way to go and see him? You feel what I'm saying? And not only that, I never had a relationship with my dad's parents. Like, my grandmother lives right around the block from me, and I don't talk to her. My dad's father used to live around the block from me when we were kids, and he had nothing to do with us. So it's kind of like, I don't know what it's like to have a grandparent. I feel like all of my all like my mom and dad's parents, I feel like they all kind of effed up, to be quite honest, but that's just my opinion. But however, I feel Kenya. And I know that that's me ranting and raving about my mom's situation is kind of taken away from the video. But y'all know when something kind of, takes, like, I don't know, I won't say take a toll, but when something resonates with me, I gotta address it and I gotta talk about it. Y'all know I gotta do that. But yeah, let's continue.
Won't ever fought for me to try. Oh, you know, Oprah? Like, no, we
No.
need to sit still, no.
No, the thing is this. As you do that, I want to say this for the record, and I'm going to say this on the record. This is the Kenya who I know. This is the Kenya who I talk to. You and I have tons of fun, shade conversations. The majority of our conversations, I know you're vulnerable. And the reason why I'm going to say it. The reason why I get so disappointed in what happens to you on the show is because I'm like, she's not a one-trick pony.
No.
She knows how to give y'all shade. She can do it in her sleep. She knows how to be whimsical and twirl. But the Kenya Moore that I know is a woman who is vulnerable. My mom died of cancer. Kenya Moore surprised me, flew to Detroit and attended my mother's funeral. She did not have to do that. That's the Kenya Moore I want the world to know, and I want the world to see this, because my job on earth is to create safe spaces and to provide clarity for people like you who I feel like are so misunderstood. Mm-hmm. And I want to let the world know that when it comes to you, imagine being a girl. You're a girl, and every girl's best friend is their mom. And to grow up knowing that you're trying to navigate through life as a girl, and the woman who gave birth to you is ostracizing you. And I always said to the world, and that's why I appreciated you and your father being so honest about this story as we were filming Real Housewives, is because I'm like, I want to give context to Kenya the woman. And my job is to showcase the complexities of you women and men on the show too, but people in reality, because they only watch 42 minutes a week, 6 months out of the year, and they feel like they know you. Yeah. And I'm gonna go on record saying this, I think you are by far the #1 most misunderstood reality star, because people think you are mean, a bitch, vicious, a villain, evil, you know, and none of those words is what I use to describe you, and those words I don't use when I talk to God about you. And I'm happy that you're comfortable sharing that. But no, we're gonna get through that. But I had to let the world know that. Imagine being that. Do you feel like that obviously shaped you to be the strong woman you are today?
Oh, 100%. I just think that, I had my grandmother. I had my grandmother who raised me from 3 days old, who wanted me, and as I feel like my grandmother was a saint. And everything that I am, that is who I am from my core, is because of my grandmother. She was just the most beautiful person. And she gave me all of those things that a mother is supposed to give a child. Confidence, self-esteem, love. She cherished me. She lit up when I walked into the room. And she told me I can do anything. I can be anything. How smart I was. I mean, that was just like, she would always praise me for being smart. It wasn't because I was beautiful, that she thought in her eyes.
Yeah.
It was because, when I would come home, I was a gifted student. I was, we know I'm smart. Okay, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I'm far from the dumbest.
Oh, you're smart, bitch. That's the reason why some of the girls hate you, because it's like, not only is this bitch beautiful, she had to be smart. And not to cut you off, my favorite moment when me and the producer realized Kenya's too smart for her own good. It was season 7. Dr. Jeff had a counseling session with all the housewives.
I remember that session.
And you used the word I never heard at that time. You said, Porsha, you are a revisionist historian. Me and the producer said, what the fuck does that mean? And we looked at her and said, this bitch is so smart that me, the housewives, the producers, read. The camera crew said, revisionist historian. You're smart.
In the name.
But go ahead.
History. It's not how it happened. We're revising history. It's okay.
I ain't smart. It's all good.
That's a damn lie. You would not be where you are, honey. You would not be thriving, honey.
Well, honey.
Come on now.
Yes.
I love humility, though. That's cute.
Cute.
It's cute. Jinx. Jinx again. No, I think because of everything that happened, I think people make a choice if they can. It's fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And I think that I just had, from Doris Grant, she instilled in me to fight. And that is why I'm a fighter by nature. I'm a lover. I want everyone to get along. I love to laugh. I'm a happy person. But bitch, when you come for me, now you're challenging me, and now I have to fight. I will give you everything that I have. And sometimes that is perceived as evil, or because my rebuttals are always so lethal that they forget about what the other person did to me. But when you forgot, this person literally just tried to spit on me, or this person just tried to kill me, or this person just said the most horrible things to me. All you can see is the strategic, or the way that I respond. And it's not fair, because they just forget about what people have done to me, and it's not nice.
Do you think a lot of that has to do with colorism? You are a chocolate black woman.
I know that's come up a lot as of late, and I definitely see that there is a choice being made, and how to respond to people that look like me.
Candace Dillard Bassett.
Yes, chocolate girl.
Chocolate.
Yeah. Undeniably chocolate.
Candace, a wordsmith, smart, a pageant girl.
Yes.
Read the Girls for Phil.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, they want her out.
Yeah.
You also.
They can't take us. They can't take us.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I have seen a lot of that on these shows. I have. It's not a lie. It's not made up. It's not a perception. It is a reality.
Speaking of reality, you went from Miss USA.
Yeah.
Second black woman in the history. You are in the history books. You have acted in everything from Waiting to Excel to Martin.
Yes.
The Jamie Foxx show. You created movies with Will Packer.
Yes.
Twat, honey.
Yes.
More Vision Media produced it.
Yes.
You are...
At the time, Yamor. I was Yamor at the time.
Okay. Clarity. Before we get into your reality trajectory, when you were a self-made producer, what was your vision for your life? Did you think like, okay, before there was Shonda Rhimes, Issa Rae, Ava DuVernay,
Yes.
King Moore picked up a camera,
Yeah.
a call sheet. You know what I'm saying?
I learned the business from the other side of the camera because I'm a creative. Like, you know what I mean? Yes, I'm in front of the camera, but my love is creating. I was in Cass Tech. I was a performing arts major. I loved anything having to do with radio or performing, any dance, cheerleading. I was a part of all of that. And it was a love of mine. So I'm kind of split down the middle. I love psychology. I love to think. I love being analytical, but I also love creating. And for me, creating content, movies, videos, whatever I wanted to do, it was a creative outlet for me. So it's still a passion. It's a creative passion. So I was frustrated that we're going on. And I said, you know what, I can do this. I can create my own content. Let me learn from the best. So I started, I think my first credit producing was on Toi. And I was alongside Will Packer. You know where his career is now. And please ask Will Packer why he's not hired me again.
Oh, Will Packer, you know I love you and Heather Packer. Thank you for being on Behind Every Man. So we follow each other on Instagram and we have a love for each other, brother. I need to know why you ain't hiring Kenya Icon Summer Legend Moore on the TV
actually
screen.
May have been responsible for putting him on the map. Did I say that out loud? Did I say that out loud? Did I say that out loud? Allegedly.
Yes! Pick up your allegedly t-shirts on carloskingshop.com. Yes! So Will Packer, we need you to, let's have a meeting. Because this is, you guys don't know this. Me and Kenya talk, if not once a week, every other week, even when she's filming. So one of the things that I've always asked Kenya, I'm like, because she's my girl, I'm like, yo, can we produce a reboot of Toi? What are we doing? I said, I can call Will Packer. I want a reboot of that movie. So Kenya, why can't we do it? Can we do it?
Well, we can do it. Do we want to use Toi in the title? I mean, they own that. But if we did it on our own and did a iteration of it, then I think we would be safe.
Can I tell you my dream? No, my dream for you. I never said this to you.
Oh.
Okay.
Tell me.
I want you and I
Yes.
to create a show, a drama, like Melrose Place.
Oh, yes.
And I want you to play the character like Heather as Amanda. I want you to be like Amanda.
Yes, I would love to do that.
You would kill a dramatic role as a sexy hot villain.
Yes, I would love it.
A black Melrose Place.
Let's do it. I can write it.
Yes, and I can produce it.
And we can both be the creators.
And I can finance it. We'll talk later.
You know, tonight I'm going to start writing it, right? I'm doing my research.
That's okay.
Yes.
And we're going to copyright it. So you and I are going to co-create a
Yes.
scripted drama in the likes of a Melrose Place.
I'm going to write the pilot.
I just seen this comment, and I gotta put this comment up. I got to put it up. Someone says Carlos sees how low his show ratings are down, and so he's trying to get back in with RHOA. In my opinion, listen. I cannot. But you're not lying though. I don't think, because for Real Housewives of Atlanta to be such a horrible show, you keep on bringing all the housewives on your damn podcast. Because there is some type of demand for them in some kind of way. I mean, those are your highest rated interviews. Like, when are you going to put Melody Holt on your damn podcast? When are you going to talk to the Bill Collector girls? By the way, they filming their reunion today. You know, Jamar was just hanging out with Latrice yesterday, honey, in Atlanta, child. He was on FaceTime. I was kikiing my ass off. Child. But anyway, let's continue.
And you're okay, but you have to start as like the sexy villain, like the Heather Locklear.
Yes.
And I've always called you the Black Heather Locklear.
You did. And in that meeting at, where were we? Mastro's?
With Mastro's,
yes.
yes.
You said that. I remember. That's how good my memory is now.
I don't lie. That's the thing. I don't lie.
You said it. You can't be the Heather Locklear of reality TV. You can't be a one-hit wonder and go away. Like, you can't do that.
No.
I remember.
But you are the Heather Locklear of reality TV, meaning Heather Locklear would come on a show that needed some life and resurrect it and save it. And you did that to the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yes. Well, thank you.
And the reason why I've said this to you privately, I shared it publicly recently, is because when I was on season 4 of the show, I felt like something's missing, something's off. I didn't understand what it was. I was still a young producer. I felt something was off. I left the show after season 4. You came on season 5. I did not do season 5. However, I was contacted weekly by the producers and people in Atlanta. This is a true story. She knows this.
I know the story.
And they all said, you don't know what you're missing. And I said, what do you mean? this Kenya Moore is twirling her ass all over the screen. And she is causing a ruckus over. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? They said, Carlos, we've never seen anything like it. It's like a tsunami. Like she's going crazy. I want to talk to you about this before we get into your introduction to that show.
Yes.
Here you are in Hollywood, producing, acting. I know the story could be talked privately, but I love the story so much and you've never shared it publicly. Your decision into going into reality. And if I may, one thing you said to me, I'll never share this to you, it made me leave Housewives, meaning it was part of my reasons of leaving.
I know what you're going to say.
You said, Carlos, it was like Groundhog Day. I was doing the same thing over and over and over. Pilot season, I'm in LA, I'm trying to finance this, produce that. And you said, I just needed something different.
Yeah.
I needed something different. And you drove to Atlanta and decided to embark on reality television. Talk to the world about where you were at that time in your life.
You know, I just felt like it was stagnant. My life was stagnant. I was in my 30s, had multiple back-to-back long-term relationships, of course, many proposals. So no, I had relationships, like 3 years, 4 years, almost got married in one of those relationships.
Celebrity man?
He was, I would say he was a celebrity, one. The other one was an agent, non-celebrity. And I just became like a person who stayed at home so much. I would work, kept my head down, booked a job here and there, kept the light bill, paid, and owned my own home at 26 years old, had my own home in California. I just felt like I was, like you said, Groundhog's Day. I'm doing the same thing. My life is not changing. Yes, it's okay. It's a decent life, but it's not changing, and I wanted something different. And there's a Bible saying, leap and there will be a net.
Yes.
And that is how I felt. I felt like I have family there. My aunt was there, my cousin, who I was very close to, and my other was there, and I had one of my best friends was from Detroit. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this leap, and wherever I fall is where I fall. And as soon as the word got out that I was moving to Atlanta, I was very good Judy of mine, Lawrence, Miss Lawrence, told the producers, and one of them was Joy.
Yeah, Joy.
And then the rest is history from there. And I remember having a conversation with Joy, and she was like, "This girl is either crazy or delusional or something." And I was talking to her like, "Yeah, because I was just
she told me that.
very myself. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I did not know about reality TV. I had only seen a few episodes of the show. It was early on. It was like, and I remember when Lawrence told me that they were even developing the show. I was like, oh, that's not gonna work. I remember telling him that. Because I don't know why, I just told me who the cast is. Oh, they're thinking about doing the show, and I was like, oh, that's not gonna work. And I remember telling him that before the show ever aired.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. So fast forward to the show was airing. It was funny. I saw a few episodes. I remember not liking a few of the characters of the show. Well, I did not like Nene.
You didn't like Nene?
I did not like Nene. I don't know why. I did not like her. She was loud. She was brash. I was just like, But and that changed. After I got on the show and we my first season on the show, I had Thanksgiving at her house. Like
I remember that.
Yeah, so it changed. Yeah, because you have to get to know people versus what you see on TV.
Yeah, well, that's the whole reason why I appreciated the top of our conversation, because it's allowing people to see the real you, because they only see a chopped down version of it.
And what the editors choose to show. Allegedly.
As we're seeing this season, allegedly. Hey, flashbacks. So anyways, okay. When you were starting out, not auditioning, so I want to tell people how it works. Work back then. Because now anybody could get on Housewives. It's longer.
Yes.
At one point in time, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was a Soho House membership.
Yes, it was. You better say that again. People don't know who so maybe explain.
Okay.
That.
Okay. So Soho House is it's an exclusive club.
Yes.
It's a
top tier
restaurant, lounge,
celebrity only.
Celebrity. There's one in West Hollywood, Miami.
Now, before it was just LA.
Yeah, it was just LA, but now they have LA, New York, Miami,
London.
Yeah.
They're all over the world.
They're all over the world now. But you got to pay like $5,000 a year to be a part of the membership.
And be referred. You can't just pay your money and get in. You have to be referred.
You have to be referred by 2 referrals.
Yes, that are already members.
That are already members.
Yes.
So they don't let anybody in.
No, they do not.
You got to be, and you have to submit a headshot.
Yes, you do.
I'm a member. I am a member. You can.
This is why I could not listen. This is why I don't really crave the whole celebrity thing. Like, imagine me paying $5,000 just to be a member to go to a fucking club. Who's gonna do that? Not me. Not me. Like some of this shit that people want to do, Scotty don't want to fucking do that. Like, seriously, some of this shit that people want to do, Scotty don't want to do that. That's even like today. Well, not today, yesterday, when we was out and about in downtown Detroit. The person that I was with, who is a great friend of mine, emphasis on great. Um, he was saying, um, I hope you get recognized today. I hope you get recognized today. And you know what? I was like, I hope not. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not because I don't like to meet people that watch my stuff, but it's always so weird to me when people recognize me for my work. Like it is so awkward when I see people, and I'm very nice to people when they meet me. Don't get me wrong, because if there's some people up in this chat that's actually met me in person, then they know that I'm a very sweet guy in person. So they know that. It's just that I don't think I'm that fucking important for people to be that damn excited to see me. Like that's just what it is. So then after he said that, I'm like, well, what if there are some people that are in Detroit right now? They're in the downtown area. Let me put this on my community wall. Let me put it on my community wall. Let's just say, y'all, I'm in Detroit right now. So if you see me, say hey. You know what I mean? There was like I think there was probably one or two people that were so pissed that I made that post because guess what? They were in the Detroit area and they were mad that they missed me while I was out. That shit was so funny to me. But like I said, imagine me paying $5,000 just to go to a fucking club. I don't even like to pay $20 to go to a fucking club. Why? Because it's gonna be the same fucking people. When I go to Houston and me and Josiah go out to Crockers, it be the same fucking people. It's just like I was there last weekend. I come to Houston every few months and I see the same damn people at the club. It's crazy to me. You feel what I'm saying? But anyway, let's continue.
At one point in time, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was like a Soho
girl?
House membership. Now it's like a playground to where it's free to the public, and you don't have to do anything to get in but arrive with your cooler and your rehearsed reads and being prepped and having a battery in your back with AA batteries and a charging station that was meant for a Tesla, but it's really for these new girls to wind them up like a rag doll. Yep. And oh, I'm sorry, I forgot my line of questioning. I went to another stratosphere. Anywho, I'm back now. At the time when it was a privilege to be on the show.
When it was the show to be on.
The show to be on. Many girls audition.
Yes.
Many girls were told, bye-bye.
Yes.
What people don't know is this, and you tell me if I got the number wrong. You filmed for over a month.
Oh, over a month, yeah.
Without being an official housewife.
Right, and without pay. They didn't pay you. They didn't pay me. That was the reason, eventually I was like, I'm out of here. If you don't know it by now, you're never going to know it until I'm gone. So thank you. Thank you very much. I know how to walk away. That's the one thing about me. I don't do things just for money. You know that. The history of me being on this show tells you that. If I'm not happy, if I don't know the way things are going, I'll just say, it's working out. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yes, back then, anyone who was auditioning or wanting to be a part of the cast went through this rigorous filming. They would film you alone. They would film you with your man. They would film you with your children. They would film you out and about. And maybe if you kept making the cut, you would film with a housewife. Or if you didn't know a housewife already, I knew Lawrence, so I would film with Lawrence. That was my entree, or not entree.
No, he was your introduction into the.
He was my introduction.
Cast.
Yes, so Lawrence was my introduction to the cast, and so from there, in a scene, he might say, if it's going well, Phaedra's having a get together tomorrow. Do you want to come? Oh, well, I don't know who Phaedra is, in real life. So I'm like, well, sure. I don't know what to expect. I don't know these people, So that's how it worked. And the great thing about that casting process is that you had to earn your right to be a housewife of Atlanta. You had to earn it. It wasn't like, oh, this girl looks good. Oh, she looks good on paper. Let's make her a housewife. Girls are getting their contracts before they even meet us. And so then it blows up when they do meet us and they can't keep up and they're not a good fit. We've seen it season after season. It doesn't work. You need to be tried and tested. That is it. You need to have all these girls. Do you remember the Nene had an event?
Yeah, season 5.
The success event, whatever. And all Central Housewives. I mean, you had Jerry Stackhouse's wife. You had all these, prominent, beautiful women of Atlanta. I mean, they were not only beautiful, but they were rich and, they were successful. They had husbands. They were the quintessential what you would think is a housewife of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And the girls.
And for my audience, this is season 5.
Season 5.
It's become a meme. Is when Nene walks out like this. It's a meme now. It's a meme now. And Kenya Moore takes a microphone and said, "Okay, now that we're done with the clown show." So for my audience, is that scene? Continue.
That was a reference because I was amongst a bunch of clowns. Like they were, and I'm not calling the girls that now. For me, it was like, why am I here? I'm freaking Miss USA. Why am I being auditioned? I don't audition, honey. It's offer only. And I was looking around like, why am I being auditioned? Really? I was so offended. I was so offended.
Oh my God. So at that scene, you still did not have the.
I did not have a contract. I did not have a contract. And I remember that's also the time where Cynthia and I got into it because I was like, Cynthia, what? I didn't understand. I watched the show. So when I saw the way Cynthia was just so protective of her friendship with Nene, I was like, this is weird. This is very weird, And so I didn't have a point of reference like that. I think the problem is the girls that are being cast now, they're fans. And that's a big problem because I wasn't a fan. I was a fan of Miss Lawrence. I was a fan of Atlanta, but I didn't know these girls. I didn't watch them religiously. I didn't get in front of my TV and was like, yeah, you girl, you better twirl. I didn't do that. So my interaction with them was genuine and it was authentic. And whatever I saw, I called out because that's just my personality. I was like, okay, I wasn't gonna sit there like a wallflower. I was like, well, I don't understand. Why is this girl that's so beautiful, like holding on, like dear life to Nene? And I just didn't understand it. And so we talked about it on camera, because we're being filmed. So that's what ended up happening. Like that's how those relationships were born,
And what was born was a star in terms of this woman is meant to be in reality television. And then another star was born by the names of Porsha Stewart at the time.
Yes, Stewart.
And what I heard, and I never asked you this. I was told when you guys were filming season 5, the current peach holders, Candy, Nene,
on strike.
Hey, Raindrops, yes, come through. We got merch. Finally, Carlos King is giving y'all merch. We got Raindrops. Allegedly. Come on,
Carlos,
allegedly,
baby,
allegedly,
no.
t-shirts. We
Absolutely
have it all.
not.
Make
No.
sure you go on Carlos. Now get
No.
When for anybody else.
notification button so you don't miss an episode. See ya.
It's notification, nah.
Against Kim. They did not like that Kim. Now remember, Porsha wasn't cast. I was cast, right? They weren't looking for anybody else. The casting was closed.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know.
Yes, the casting was closed. When Kim because I remember sitting at the lunch, and I believe the lunch was televised.
No, what? It's when Kim showed the camera.
Yes.
Porsha wasn't there.
No, she wasn't there. They cast Porsha after Kim walked off because then it was like they didn't know what was going to be happening with Kim, and so Porsha was the replacement housewife. No shade to Porsha.
No,
I'm just
I
saying
didn't
how
know
it
that.
happened. Yes.
No.
Yes, because remember the number of housewives they had. I think at the time it was
6.
They didn't need 7. They never have been 7 of Atlanta. Not from my memory. It's never been 7. Even to this day, I don't think they've ever had 7. So when she walked off, that opened up the casting again and said, okay, we have this other girl, let's look some more. And then Porsha came, and I don't know who else, but yeah, that's how that happened.
So the housewives went on strike.
Yeah, they banned, which was a great thing because they came together, which I admired. They did not like the way that Kim was receiving preferential treatment, and they banned together and was like, we're not going to work this week. So they were like, okay, well, what are we going to do? Production is down for a week. Let's get this other girl, audition her, because now we don't know what's happening. Kim's walked off. Let's look at what else we can film. And so that's when they called me to come in to go to Porsha's event. And Porsha was very interesting. And actually, before the event, we had a lunch. We had a lunch together. I remember that. We had a lunch, and she was really sweet. And me, I'm always sizing people up, so I'm like listening to her little things she would say, and I was like, okay. It was a fine lunch. Like, it was nothing wrong with the lunch. Then when I get to the event, and it was just little things that I was seeing, like it was an event for charity for her grandfather, but she received a Chanel bag, in front of all these people, and I was like, why? Like, it was just my natural thought. Like, is this the right time to give your wife a Chanel bag? Like, it was just very odd to me. So it was just little things I would see. But people think they have a different take. Again, they always look at my response, but they don't look at what was done to me. So the thing with Porsha is, okay, yeah, sure, she screwed up my title. Plenty of people do it. I think they're this, a lot of people think they're one and the same. They're both prestigious titles. Miss America, Miss USA, right. They're the same. It was her reaction. Like, it was like, oh, whatever, girl. Whatever. Like, no, it's not whatever. It's Miss USA. Like, I'm telling you that you got it wrong. Don't go, oh, whatever, ha, 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 ha. No, say, I'm sorry for that. Don't embarrass me. So it was that. I remember going out getting some air. So this is when I think they kind of took her aside. Like, she came out, she was polite at first. She came back. And then that's when the insults started to fly. Like, she was like, you're leaving. You can just go. You can just go to the curb. I remember this almost like, you can go to the curb where you belong or something. Yes. And I was like, well, now it's turn. See, I didn't insult you. I walked away. I did not say anything to you. I did not insult you. One of my triggers is when people insult me, and especially when it's uncalled for. I don't think people know that about me. I don't like to be insulted because I'm going to play nice with you, but I'm not going to hit you first. When you hit me is when I have to return with something much stronger. So, and I think people know that.
They know that now, yes.
So she hit me with these insults. It's like, wait, I'm a curb? Like, wait, why do you have to insult me, girl? You just insulted me there. I didn't say anything to you. Now we're out on the curb, and now you're just like, all of a sudden you're a different person, and you're like doing the most. Mm-hmm. So that's how that started. People didn't see it that way. They looked at this young, cute girl, oh, so aloof. Oh, it's okay. She's not that now. But she was then. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because one thing I admire most about people is intelligence. I think people know that. I like a smart, pretty girl. I live for a smart, pretty girl. So, I'm a girl, I keep me a smart, pretty girl. So, so I'm like, no, I'm not jealous. I'm not, because I keep $1 worth of dimes around me. You know that. Come on now.
Oh, you better.
You know that. So please don't come over here talking about some beauty, because I have seen beauty in my life.
Hey, Tracy Edmonds. Shit.
You know, Tracy Edmonds, Tyra was my best friend. Is one of my best friends,
Yeah.
even to this day. So please don't act like I'm jealous of this. You know, I'm not. Let's just be clear. I can appreciate beauty at its finest. So yeah, so that's how all that started. We were born because they went on strike.
That is so amazing to me because it also showed that me as a viewer watching season 5. So I produced the first 4 seasons. I left. I'm watching it at home. And I'm fascinated by the two of you.
Dynamic.
I'm fascinated by the dynamic.
And it was the first time, like, I wasn't a housewife. I wasn't a housewife then. It was two.
Now, I let this continue to go on, and that is very much so true. I never forget it. This was back when I used to look at Straight from the A, Michelle Brown's blog. That was before she got a YouTube channel. Her blog was called Straight from the A, and she was like the #1 source just about for all of the Real Housewives of Atlanta news, like all kinds of casting news and stuff like that. And I would never forget it. This was like during season 5 when they first started filming. And I remember them saying that Kenya Moore was filming with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Then I remember another chick named Nicole Porsha. And then I remember another chick named Jamila Rouse. And Jamila Rouse, I believe that was her name. And at that very event, Nene's event that they were just discussing, Kenya Moore and Jamila Rouse had gotten into an argument at that very event because Michelle Brown talked about it on her blog. She talked about it on her blog. So yes, that is all facts. I remember all of that. So that's true.
2 non-housewives shooting a scene at the time.
Which is unheard of.
Unheard of. They didn't have a choice. They had nothing. They were going to waste the whole production week, or they were going to shoot something.
When were you officially made a housewife?
I think it was. I think it was after. It was after the Nene's event. It was after Nene's event.
Dazzle?
No, after the Women in Success event, because I remember
The
saying
clown
I was
show
done.
event.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember saying I was done. I was like, if you don't know it now, I'm not going to be working for free. I've shown you enough. If you don't think that I'm that girl, then someone else will. Thanks, but no hard feelings. And then they begged me, just one more scene. And I remember saying, if I shoot this scene and you don't make me a housewife, you cannot use me for anything else. You cannot use any of my footage. And they agreed to it, and they made me a housewife after.
You earned it.
Yeah,
You earned it.
I told them, I was like, if you don't, then you can't use me at all.
What people don't realize is this. When season 5 aired, obviously you're seeing what other people are saying about you in their confessionals.
The first time, yes.
You're being accused of being an alcoholic.
Oh my God!
Drunk.
As someone who's never been drunk a day in their life, God on a hand on a Bible, I have never been drunk a day in my life. I have been tipsy. I've been feeling good from alcohol. I have never ever in my life, even to this day, I've never been drunk a day in my life. And you have people accusing me, and you know that's a trigger because guess what? Who accused me of that? And I had never even tasted alcohol before. My mother. Remember the story I told you earlier? She told those people that I was an alcoholic. Yeah. I don't even like liquor like that. You know what I mean? Anybody who's ever gone out with me, if I get 2 drinks, that's rare.
Yeah.
That is rare.
And you're like, that's what you like a little tipsy, but when you're tipsy, it's fun and it's whimsical. Yeah, you're a fun girl.
I'm a fun girl with drink, but I've never been drunk.
So that hurt you.
It hurt me.
Because when Phaedra was calling you an alcoholic, it reminds you of your mother.
And what else did she say? I confided in her about my mom thinking that she had a mental illness because of the way that she treated me. And Phaedra used that when we fell out. She used the 2 things that were my ultimate triggers, saying that I had some kind of illness because of my mom and saying that I was an alcoholic. And that all leads back to my mother and her treatment of me and the things that she did to try to destroy me. And that is why I have the opinion that I have of Phaedra now, amongst other things.
We'll get into that in a second too.
Yeah.
You were not in a good space when season 5 was airing. Is it true that you had to speak to a therapist?
I did.
When season 5 was airing.
When it was airing, and I saw all of the things that were a stretch that they were making it seem like I was. The one thing that crushed my soul is when I was watching the Cynthia Bailey fashion show, and there were
coochie crack.
Yeah,
okay.
That was fine. When they tried to, when it appeared, let me be diplomatic. When it appeared that I was being mean or saying unflattering things about another Black young girl, that destroyed me. That is not who I am. That is not who I will ever be. I have the weakest, I am a fool for a young Black girl in need. Yeah. I have so many people that I mentor. I literally take on so many women and cases and just girls who remind me of myself and who remind me of that little Black girl from the ghetto, just dealing with life and dealing with not having a family and wanting a relationship with my mother and just trying to just get home at night without being robbed or raped or killed and just wanting something more for your life. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that, when I tell you I didn't answer my phone for a week.
I can confirm that because our friend Joy, again, I didn't work season 5.
Yeah.
I was told she had to
I almost had a mental breakdown.
Joy had to drive to your home.
Yep.
And sit with you for hours.
Yep.
And said, I'm just here to talk to you.
Yep.
Like, that's how severe for you. Because here you are entering into the space of reality, and you're like, oh, okay, I could.
But tell the story the way it happened.
And that really made you second guess coming back to the show.
Yes. It was like, if this can happen, the fun stuff, I can deal with that. Nene pulling up and saying that I was, literally I'm in a 4-star hotel with a 2-bed, and her pulling up and the honking the horns and stuff like that.
The ghetto, white refrigerator.
Yeah, like, oh God, and the ambulance in the background and the police sirens. I was like, oh, y'all tried it.
So now you're like, it's funny. It's like, right. It's stupid, whatever.
That's stupid. I'm like, I'll take that L. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm across the street from the Fox Theater, 2-bedroom, 4-star hotel. It's fine. Okay. Like, even just showing my little office papers, my little makeshift office, like, it was like, like really? It's my office. Like, you would think it was roaches and rats running around on the sofa the way they made it.
I love the fact you're like, now that was good. Like,
that was hilarious.
Okay, fine. Okay,
that was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the landlord who tried to put me out the house. You cannot buy that kind of TV. You cannot plan
obsessed.
it. You cannot buy it. You cannot make it up. It was reality. That woman was just as crazy as she appeared. The fact that shady ass 911 call.
I was there for that. And I was so going back a bit, I'm asked to come back and exec produce season 6.
Yes.
And I'm watching the show like, this kid, Detroit said.
Carlos always gotta let everybody know. I was called back to come back and produce Real Housewives of Atlanta season 6. Girl, we know. You don't have to keep saying it.
Because again, let me tell you something. My father, my brothers, every black man in America had Kenya Moore as their wallpaper on their computer. The Smooth Magazine calendar, like a national treasure, honestly. And I said, I can't wait to have fun with Kenya. And then I was told, she's not coming back. And I said, what? What? No, Kenya? What are you guys talking about?
Yep.
We already talked about Porsha being on the chopping block. With you, I had to fly to Los Angeles.
You did.
I had the company credit card. Mm-hmm. Me and my producer, Brent. Who you love. It was you and Brandon, your bestie, took you out to dinner. And I'm begging you. And you're, of course, expressing your grievances. And I remember saying this to you. I'm back, and I'm going to hold your hand. But I can't do this season without you because you twirled into our lives season 5.
Yeah.
And would you admit, though, humility is good, that you and Porsha resurrected the show?
Oh, absolutely. The executive producer told me that. Like, he said it was in a bad place, and we revived the show. And, it was magic. Porsha and I together, we made magical TV, for sure. For all these years, for all, not just season 5. For all those years, it was just so interesting to see the relationship go up and down, sideways, wherever it was going to go. And it made for very compelling TV.
When you think of...
I will say that. I will credit Kenya and Porsha for actually bringing Real Housewives back on the forefront, because I do know that around season 4 is where it started to get stale. Let's see. Nene was getting Hollywood, so she could really give a fuck about what was going on with the show. Nene and Kim weren't even filming together. They refused to film with each other, so there was barely any scenes with them. And then, and then on top of that, Nene really wasn't filming with half those girls. Like, she would film with Candy, she would film with Cynthia, but she didn't really film with Sheree. She didn't really film with Kim. She didn't film with Kim at all, really. She only filmed with Kim maybe once, and that's when they had that whole sit-down dinner with Candy and her mama, and Mama Joyce was trying to get them to speak to each other, and Nene didn't really want to speak to what's her name, to Kim, and all that other good shit. So yeah, that's pretty much what that was. But season 4 is where it started to get stale, because Sheree didn't have no storyline or nothing like that. She was staying in a 2-bedroom apartment. She was talking about Chateau Sheree, all that stuff. So it did kind of start hitting a moment where it was becoming stale and somebody had to be gone. And the very next season, they brought back Kenya and Porsha, and it was pretty much like a soft reboot, and it was taken to another level ever since then. So I do agree when they say that Kenya and Porsha did kind of revitalize the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I agree with that. And as you can see, those are the only 2 newbies that stayed for more than 3 seasons. Okay?
About your time on the show and getting to all the altercations, the arguments, the fights, who would you give the number 1 slot to or position to in terms of, this was my biggest challenger? She and I went toe-to-toe. It was good. and it was interesting, and I'm even entertained by it.
I mean, come on, that's easy. That's Nene.
Nene.
I mean, come on. Nene is that girl who you just never knew where she was going to come from half the time. Like, is it going to be friend Nene or enemy Nene? I mean, we became frenemies. But when we made magic on TV when we were friends, and we made magic on TV when we were enemies, and she could give as good as she got. And I mean, she was the yin to my yang. She was feisty, funny, effed up at times, crazy at times, a real friend at times. Like, she was all of those things. But she could read. She was funny, and I enjoyed working with her.
Do you miss her being on the show?
Yeah. If I'm being honest, yeah. She's a force all her own. You can't take that away from her. That's one thing about me. I am never going to not give you your flowers, and I'm never going to discount what you contributed to any space that you're in. She was a major force, multiplier, as you like to say, of Real Housewives, and you can't ever erase that from her.
Do you agree with her when she says she built the house?
You see how Kenya can give Nene her props without being shady, or give her props without trying to bring her down in a sense, because that's all Nene did the entire time. But of course, it was just her opinion. But okay.
She built a house, but it got foreclosed on. I mean,
well, who took over the
deed? Pay the bills.
Who took over the deed?
Well, yeah, you had
oh God. But the thing the beauty of it is this. I remember season 6. And again, season 5 was tough for you. You were on your own battling all of these girls.
Yes. I remember that reunion. It was me against everybody. Like Detroit versus everybody.
Yes.
That's why I love that Detroit versus everyone.
It's us.
It's us. Detroit versus everybody. That's how I felt. And I slayed them all one by one. Okay? Season 5 reunion. Everybody came for me and their husbands. And I still held my own. So please give me my flowers.
I'll just go there now. I don't think you get the flowers you deserve. I think you are the most unappreciated housewife. I think when it comes to you, you don't get the treatment you deserve. It makes my stomach turn every time I watch a reunion and you're not in the first seat.
Yeah.
It makes my stomach turn.
Yours and mine both.
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
I had this conversation with them before because I was bringing up, I just remember this seating or whatever. I don't remember. Oh, it was that year that people couldn't understand the seating. I think it was last year. And I was like, you would never move me. Even, and don't tell me it's about story.
It's not.
Because at the end,
it's not.
It's not about story. Okay, it's about who are the leads of the show. Okay, that's Giselle, and I love Giselle. I love Giselle.
Giselle's a star.
Giselle is a star of Potomac. But
Giselle's the face of Potomac.
Well, now Karen, they put her in the middle. But I didn't like that.
I didn't like it, and I love Karen.
Yeah, I love Karen too. But Giselle is that girl.
Giselle is the face and the star of Potomac. I love Karen, Wendy, Candace. I love them all.
Yes, but Giselle is that girl.
Okay.
And I remember calling. I will call because it's the same production company. I remember calling an executive and saying, "Why isn't Giselle in the middle? Well, I don't understand with their what is it? Their wine champagne.
The champagne.
Yeah.
Champagne.
Why isn't she in the middle? Like, this is ridiculous. And then when it comes to reunion seating, it is, a lot of people think it's about story. It should not be about story. I don't care how, at the end, Nene did not have story for 3 seasons.
You tried this, bitch.
She did. You ain't see her family. You ain't see her man half the time. You ain't see nothing. But Nene would come and show you her shoes. She would come and model her shoes and sit in the corner and be mad at everybody. And they would never move Nene's seat. Okay, that is a fact. And I so disrespected, knowing what I have put into this franchise, what I have sacrificed, what I have been on this show. You should never move my seat. Never. Candy can sit on the end. She don't care. Her paycheck's not gonna change.
What I can confirm is it's not about story.
It's not about story.
It's about, and listen, it is what it is. The first seat is about who's the star of the season, the star of the show, who's the face of the show. It's the reason why Giselle, Teresa Giudice, Kyle Richards, Nene Leakes, Kim Zolciak, okay, Bethany Frankel. Let's have a conversation about it.
They never always had the most story. Never. I feel like I'm akin to Kyle. Like Kyle in some way. Like Kyle, I've always had great story. This year, not so much. Not so much. But at the same time, Nene has had seasons where she was not, like I said, she was not giving you great story. But that does not mean that she was not still the star of that show. And I really took umbrage to that, and still do. Because I think it's a mistake. I think. And
do you think it's a message to you?
If that's the case, every season they do that is a message to me. I mean, the message is maybe, like you said, I don't feel that my time on this show has been as valued as it should have been, as it should be. Where am I spent?
Okay, so I definitely agree with that, per se. I definitely agree with that. I don't feel like she should ever not have the first seat. like it's been like a downward thing with Kenya for the last few years. Like the only time I felt like she did not need to have no first seed was season 9, and that's just the truth. Candy and Phaedra deserved their first seat season 9. I can't lie to you. Now season 10, they started giving the first seat to Nene and Porsha. Every single season, it was Nene and Porsha. They became the faces of the damn show. And Kenya had the last seat. I mean, the last seat, season 10. She wasn't there season 11, but then season 12, season 12, they did it virtually. Season 13, it was Kenya and it was Porsha as the first seats. Then we get this new production team, and then the new production team, they put Sheree and Marlo in the first seat. Then this season, they got Sheree and Drew in the first seat. So it's pretty clear, and the message is pretty clear who they're trying to push as the face of this show. They're trying to push Kenya Moore, and they're trying to push Candy Burris, them two off the show. They want Sheree to be the face of the show. Sheree's the only OG that's still sitting there. So they want to make Sheree be the anchor to this show. That's why they keep pushing her to the forefront. Like they got her in the first, like last season, what the hell was she in the first seat for? Why was she in the first seat? Now we can honestly say that did Marlo deserve the first seat last season? I'm not really sure. But what the hell did Sheree do last season for her to get the first seat? I don't understand it. She didn't deserve no first seat, and she definitely didn't deserve the first seat this time. And you see that they have made her be the one to bring the girls together. Like she had that little event to bring the girls together so they can bend fences, or they had her be the one to sit down and do this whole situation with the Portugal trip. They made her be the one that was over the trip. They're pushing her to be the anchor. They're pushing her to be the face, and it's not gonna work. Sheree is not a lead type of girl. You feel what I'm saying? She's not really a lead type of girl to me. Now I don't know how y'all feel about me, but even I don't feel like I'm a lead type of nigga. I don't. Like when y'all watch my panels, sometimes I don't think I'm the lead person. Like I created them, I birthed them or whatever, but I don't think that I am the lead. Like I don't know. I don't think that I'm a lead. I don't think I'm lead character material myself. I don't. Like a lot of the time, like if you look at Boys Night Out, y'all are really watching to see the banter with T and Maddie. Y'all waiting to see them go back and forth and do they little thug thizzle. Y'all like I just feel like I'm not a lead character type of person myself. And I can honestly feel that way. But I don't think that Sheree gives lead character. I don't. She's more of a supporting person. And there's nothing wrong with being supporting. There's nothing wrong with being supporting. And I feel like they're trying to make Sheree the anchor and push Drew as the new face. That's exactly what they're trying to do. I don't know if y'all agree with me or not, but that's what I see. Let's continue.
When I was at the height of my time on the show, and I wanted a spinoff with my child having a baby, and I was denied that. And you know why? That should have never happened. Because the show should come first. The show should always come first. And I cannot say that the show is coming first now.
Were you punished because you got married to Mark Daly off camera?
Of course. Is that a secret? I mean, is that a secret? Of course. Yeah, they didn't like that. And listen, I understand both sides. I'm a smart girl. I understand both sides. We have invested all this time in you. Your storyline from the beginning is that you wanted to be married and you wanted to have a baby. But when I tell you on my side, well, I can't have a husband by bringing him on the show, because we all see how that turns out season after season. If I bring a man on the show, it's like the kiss of death. It's not going to work for whatever reason. And now you're seeing that every marriages are failing. Marriages are failing. I'm trying to get married. And if I have all of these distractions, all of these girls and all of these things being said, and people, constantly putting all this negative attention, people going in. I remember I brought one guy on the show once. Before he was just in the trailer. Before he even appeared on the show, they had mug shots of him. They had all kind of stories coming out on him. And it's like, for what? You're killing me. You're and this is not the fault of Bravo. This is the fault of all of the people invested in our show. And it's unfair to dig up dirt on someone that you don't even know yet. Yeah. And what is the point of it? What is the end result of that? What is the end game for you to my life? Because this man is going to look at me like, well, you're having my clients calling me that didn't even know I had been arrested, and they don't even know what this was about. This was about a man doing X, Y, and Z to me, not what they're portraying it to be. So it's a costly thing for me, and I weighed what I needed first, and I needed to have a family before I needed a show, which is why I can always walk away, because I always prioritize what is going to make me the happiest. And at that point in time, I met someone that I thought, this is the one. Now, if I make the choice to make it public and bring him on the show, he could go away. But right now, it's good. And as soon as I exposed him on the show, what happened? Divorce papers ensued. Rightfully so, but there is a rhythm to it. But I understood their point of view, which was, we invested in you. This is what your storyline has been since your first season, season 5. And then you go off and get married, and we don't even have it. And to add insult to injury, he didn't want to appear on camera. And now he does, because he's allegedly shooting his own reality show.
Well, we're going to get into that too, because he did not want to film on the show, and the producer we keep talking about, she had to call him constantly to do it.
Yep.
Before we get into that, though, again, you and I are friends in real life.
Yes.
Real life. You were so...
First of all, do you have to keep reminding us that y'all are friends in real life? I think we get the point now, Carlos. And then also, I do think that Kenya should have got a spinoff as far as for her baby. I think that she should have gotten like a baby spinoff, like Porsha got a spinoff when she had her baby and stuff like that. But I think the problem with Kenya having a spinoff, as far as like her giving birth to her child, would that really work? Like, who does Kenya have? Like, when we're talking about spinoff, you also have to think about who will your supporting cast be. I know for me, if I had a reality show about my life, I have several interesting people that I could put on this show as my supporters. Say, for instance, Scotty did a show about getting married, okay? Say I was getting married. And you know what I'm saying? I'm doing this show. I got so many people that's around me that's so entertaining that y'all wouldn't even be paying no mind to me. Y'all will be looking more into the direction of these people. Like, you got Reggie. You got, if you looked at my Roast of Scotty panel with all my childhood friends, you got them. They're all funny as fuck. Okay, you have Tremel, you have Carl, you got Jamar, you got T, you got Maddie, you got Josiah, you got all these different people. You got my friends Tay, you got Sammy, you got Carlos, you got DeVarves, you got Lamar, all my real life friends. You got all these different people that I could put on this show, and it would be fucking entertaining. So when you're thinking about Kenya having a spinoff, who would she have? Because all we know is Aunt Lori, her daddy, and Shay, cousin Shay. Who else is she gonna have? That's all I'm saying. But let's continue.
So protective about this relationship. You didn't tell me about it. Our girl Joy. You really, I knew you were dating. So I want to be clear. You told me you were dating. I didn't know you got married either until after you did it, and you told me, "Can you talk?" I said, "Yeah." You said, "I'm married, bitch." I said, "Bitch, oh, that guy was telling you about from New York." I said, "What?" And I said, "This is a true conversation. Does the network know?" "No, bitch." I said, "Well, I ain't saying shit. Like, I'm not gonna say a word." I remember though seeing the wedding photo, and you two had a fist bump.
Yeah.
And I never said this to you, but I remember seeing it, and I felt something was off. Because, and unless there was just certain photos that weren't released.
Yeah, I mean, they were unauthorized photos.
Oh, because for me,
that wasn't my photo.
God, okay,
I eventually posted that photo on my Instagram.
See,
that one, the fist.
That was the only one, and I felt in that moment, this doesn't feel emotional or romantic.
Really?
Yeah, because for me, if it was a wedding photo, you guys should be kissing, and
well, I had those.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
I thought it was the opposite. I thought it showed that we had a great, fun, friendly relationship. It wasn't just about a sexual attraction or, oh, I gotta marry you so fast because I'm just so hot for you. I thought it was rooted in a friendship.
So, because a lot of people did assume, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Did you rush to get married because of where you were in your life at the time, wanting to have a child? You met this. Listen. Despite what's going on right now, the man is fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
Mark is stunning.
He's a good-looking guy.
He will probably, if he was on more than one season, he would have been one of the hottest house husbands. Sorry, Mauricio and Eddie. And why didn't you get
Mark.
physical? I know Mark is gorgeous. Was the pressures of you being on the show, having to go on couples trips as a single woman?
Oh, you think that rushed me to the altar?
No. I want to talk about the psychology of things because what I like to do is go further. The thing is this: I don't know what it's like to be invited on a couples trip as a single female, and when you're getting into it with these girls, rightfully so, their husbands have their back.
Yes, which
And-
I've encountered in the last few seasons here on Real Housewives. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're sort of like alone.
Yes.
And it must do something to you. So the one thing I've always wanted to ask you was, yes, you wanted that in your personal life. Was it also something like, I also just want somebody on this show that I can be protected by?
You know, I am. So no, it had nothing to do with the show.
Okay.
And honestly, we connected right away. I remember, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, I met him months before him. I was fresh out of the relationship with I call him Crazy Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't need to date anybody because it's like, and that was pressure. That was pressure.
Dating
Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes was pressure.
Yes.
Yes.
So when it came to Mark, I met him right after I stopped seeing Crazy Eyes. And I thought, I was like, wow, this is a good looking guy. I was in New York. I was at a restaurant and I met him and I thought, wow, that's a good looking guy. Like, and he was, he looked kind of like a little nerdy because he had his little book bag and backpack or whatever you want to call it. And he was doing paperwork in the restaurant because he owned the restaurant and he was just there doing paperwork at one of the stations. And so later I was like, I really would like to connect with him, but I'm not ready. I need to just take some time for myself, figure out how I got myself in this situation with this other fool. And I need to just be ready. And I prayed so much, like, on me, fix whatever is broken so that when I do meet someone, I am ready to receive them. And that's what I did. I just worked on myself. I read, I was going through counseling, all of those things. And I remember it was not, I think it was Thanksgiving-ish, maybe 3 months later. And I called up Chef RHOA and I said, you remember the guy, that you introduced me to? And he said, yeah. I said, is he single? And he was like, let me check, and then it was just history from there. So he was I made the first move. And I remember we didn't talk right away. When we did talk, we were on the phone for 2 hours at a time. Every time we would speak, we would be on the phone for hours at a time.
Is he trying to take your money?
He wants me to pay his bills and some payment that no one understands what the payment is for. But that's not holding up the divorce because I would pay him whatever to go away. He is trying to undo my rights to Brooklyn when it comes to TV appearances because he's now doing a reality show.
Is it a pilot? Because you're not a producer.
I believe it's a show because
is it straight to series?
That I don't know. He won't tell me about it. He won't discuss it. I do know that they've been traveling. I do know. So if you just have a pilot, you usually don't travel people and shoot locations. So I do believe that it's an actual series.
And he was upset when Marlo kicked the door while Brooklyn was in your hotel room.
Well, he was allegedly upset.
Okay.
Because this is a man that hasn't seen his daughter for a total of 2 days and 2 years. But so what he's trying to do is trump up charges so he can have me sign off on her appearing in his show. And that is what held up the divorce. Because if it was the other things, I'd sign off. I mean, you want this money? Here, I'll make more. It's not that. He was trying to take away my right to Brooklyn when it comes to TV appearances because he wants her to appear on his show.
Did the show ruin your marriage?
No, Mark ruined our marriage. Mark ruined our marriage. I'm a good wife, and I will be a great wife to the next man. So it was a real, genuine connection that we had. We both wanted the same thing at the same time, which is also, again, the crazy thing about, from the rumors with Walter that escalated to things being fake, all started by Miss Parks, of course.
You and Walter were in a real relationship.
Candy told you that.
Yeah.
But they chose to believe him, saying, I asked him, but he had been to my house. Walter had come all the way from Atlanta and stayed in my home because we were dating at the time. And then I remember Candy saying, well, I know that they're saying this stuff, but his best friend is also one of my best friends, and he said they were dating. Mm-hmm. But that's not what they wanted to hear. They wanted to go with this false narrative that it was fake. Then for them to keep perpetuating this notion that I pay for men and all that, it's like, really, girl?
People, what does it come? A lot of
it's a fact.
People really believe that.
I got some tea for you. Nene is the one who called me and said that Walter was going on the radio and he had been retained. Phaedra had been retained by him. Nene is your girl who called me up and gave me the heads up. Okay, so
wait.
Phaedra was in cahoots with Walter, and Phaedra is the one who Nene told me that Walter asked Phaedra to be his attorney, and that is when he then went on the radio and said that crazy stuff. Which he never said I paid him, by the way. He said I asked him to be on the show.
Yes, can you come on the show? Because if you do, you got to sign a release. You got to film at 2 o'clock on Tuesday.
Right.
You're supposed to ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
That turned into somehow us faking it when clearly Candy already said that he had told people we were dating, and it's obvious evidence that he had been at my house. So that was a complete lie. Hand on a Bible.
Wow.
Hand on a Bible. If you have a Bible right now, I would swear, hand on a Bible.
I have
and
a
that
Bible
room,
app.
bring a Bible app. I will put my hand on the Bible app. Okay. I'm sure it works.
Red,
but
it's
crazy that
Yeah.
from that you keep perpetuating this rumor. But then I thought about it. I said those kind of rumors exist for every single person that is on the show. Candy will always be the sugar mama who paid me, who pays for the sugar mama who takes care. Cynthia will always be the girl who was the weak one, no backbone, always up Nene's behind, whatever. We all have something that someone in the cast says about us that sticks, and that was mine. Even though, if you're looking at me, really, I have to pay someone? Really? This is what you want people to believe. A successful, bright, kind, smart.
I ain't gonna lie. I thought she was paying these men too. Like, I ain't gonna sit up here and lie to you. I thought she paid Walter. I ain't gonna lie, cause that's what they were saying. That's the narrative that was spun out there about her. They did say that she paid the men. They did say that.
Woman that looks like me, a former Miss USA, has to pay someone to be to date them? Really? And it worked. And even after that, everything, the fruit of that came a lie. Fake husband, fake boyfriend, fake fiance, fake husband, fake marriage. Am I having a fake divorce? Fake baby. All of those
Fake
things.
affair with Apollo.
Fake affair with Apollo.
There were allegations that you tried to suck Apollo's dick. Hey, Raindrops. Tune in next Tuesday, August 22nd at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern to catch part 2 of my exclusive interview with Kenya Moore.
All righty then, you guys. So that was pretty much the interview. That was the recap of this Carlos King and Kenya Moore interview. And I do think that this was a pretty decent interview. Not as explosive as the Nene interview, but of course, Nene's interview was a little explosive because she was throwing tons of shade and not taking much accountability for anything. That's why it was so good. But you know, whatever. But anyway, y'all, that's pretty much all I got for this. I will be back next week to do a live recap on this interview again. When they do the part 2, I definitely will be back for that. Also, it's almost time for Boys Night Out, y'all. So get prepared for that. Boys Night Out is coming back in how many more weeks, y'all? I didn't realize how close it was. Let's see. That we're at the 17th. Boys Night Out returns in 2 weeks. 2 more weeks. Boys Night Out returns, and the Chasing panel returns later in September. Okay, later on in September it returns, but we will know because Chasing Atlanta's season 6 trailer comes out tomorrow night. So make sure you guys tune in for that. I cannot wait for that. And yes, but with that being said, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed the recap, and I hope you guys have not been experiencing any type of choppy sounds or anything like that, because like I said, this is restreamed. This is not StreamYard. This is a whole new streaming service, so I haven't gotten any type of complaint so far since I've been using this, but hopefully it stays that way up until I get home, because when I get home I can use my actual mic, I can be back on camera and all that other good stuff. But y'all, I got another video to do after this, and then after that I'm going to enjoy my last full day in Detroit. All right, so with that being said, y'all, this be your boy Scotty by Nature TV. Be sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe, share this video, and also click on the notification bell so you can be notified whenever a video drops. And if you want to follow me on any form of social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, and TikTok will be down below in the description box. With that being said, you got your boys up out here. Until my next video, I will talk to you guys a little bit later.